Yeah, no, but that's okay. Keep your privacy. That's fine. But yeah, all right, very good. You got a sub there as well. All right.
Yay.
And then Rock and Amy says she's already subscribed to you. Grandma says, my dog turns his face away if I offer him anything that isn't right. What's interesting is the animals know. I've heard it before. Like if the rats and the mice won't eat it, then why are you? I am an indoor cat. All right. So I will add cheese back after 30 days, but I'm addicted to it, so I want to see how I feel without it. This is a strict elimination for me right now. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I did it too. I eliminated cheese for about 30 days, and it was okay. I actually, when I added it back, I actually personally felt better. So, um, it was interesting because they say more fat, looser stools, right? Less fat, more constipation. And I eliminated cheese, but when I eliminated cheese, I actually had problems with the looser stools. Then when I added cheese back, then everything would turn to normal. So I don't know why it kind of flies against that advice, but that's what happened in my case. So I still keep cheese in my diet.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
I've heard that cheese is a natural constipator. So
Yep.
Binder.
a binder, yeah. Cabot white cheddar is my favorite. And yes, always reminding me. You always come through, man. Thank you, my brother. Hit that like button. I never ask for that. I never think to ask for that. Yes, hit the like button. Share this video if you have a place where that you think it would be share worthy in your social media, on your profiles or whatever. That would be awesome. If you're on screen, or if you want to join us on screen, actually, we just had Rick show up at right on time. By the way, he shows up at 9:00, and so this night's moving pretty fast. And so since it's 9:00, I just want to remind everybody that this is a roundtable discussion that does have room for 10. So we have 6 on the screen right now. There's room for 4 more. I got 4 empty seats, and you can be on the screen too. All you have to do is click the link that's in the chat or the link that's posted in the members only section at carnivoretalk.com, and I'll repost that link in a moment. So you can join with a webcam and share your carnivore story, or just join in this idle discussion that we're having. Nice and casual, very informal. We're all friends here, and we're all like-minded, and that's a really good thing here. So I'm going to post the link.
So I actually have to get going. I have to take my nighttime meds and then go to bed. But it was so nice talking to you guys.
Glad you joined us.
Yep.
Yeah.
I accidentally just posted the link to Lexi's channel again, so you can go ahead and click that. Now here comes the link to the StreamYard. And you can click on that. All right, very good. So let's talk to Rick for a bit. So it's 9:00. Welcome. I'm sure you're squeaky clean. And
Yes.
You must be, because your cat has not tried to run from you yet.
No, just the opposite. When I get back home, I take my bath. The first thing he's got to do is get all over me.
Mm-hmm. He's there to dry you off. Actually, he's there to love on you because he hasn't seen you in a while.
That's the thing. He's something else.
All right. How have you been?
Oh, not bad. I mean, I did kind of break a record for a live stream on Saturday.
I was going to say, because I went to work in the afternoon, and then when I left work to come back home, I opened up YouTube because I drive listening to YouTube, and you were the first one to pop up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is he still at it? And sure enough, you were. And so that's why I made the comment, like, breaking records today, and then I drove. I think you ended up shutting it down while I was on my drive home. But yeah, is that the record? Is that official now?
9.5 hours. I don't think I've gone any longer than that.
9.5 hour live stream. All right. Very good. Saturdays 8 with Rick. So if you're listening here and you've got time on Saturday. I guess it could be anytime Saturday because he's always he's always doing his stream.
That's it.
There's a
can pop
9-hour
in and out.
window. You can jump in whenever you wake up. Whenever you
Well,
wake up, whenever you come home, he's probably still streaming on Saturday.
Next Saturday should be pretty interesting if I do get that special guest I'm supposed to get.
I sure hope you get your special guest. I need to make a point of paying close attention to that particular one all day or throughout the day at least. All right. Very good. All right. Did you have a long weekend?
It's like any other weekend.
Okay, no different for you. No family get-togethers with them carrying over trays of carbs to wave in front of you and try and tempt you or nothing.
I have no family. I mean, I have a few friends, but no, people I know went out of town. And besides, they know that if they bring me any carbs, it's going to go straight to the canal.
Right. To the ducks.
To the ducks. I'll go to the canal. I'll feed it to the ducks. And it's funny because some things the ducks won't even eat. You know, I was just talking. I think I mentioned that to Thomas in his live stream. He said he threw a McDonald's bun to the seagulls and they wouldn't eat it. And I was laughing because I had thrown McDonald's buns to the ducks. They would take a nip out of it and then throw it back. They didn't want it.
They weren't loving it.
No.
Animals be smarter than us.
But you know, the funny thing is when I was a kid and you went to McDonald's, you would always give stuff to the ducks. They'd eat anything. They'd eat the fries. They'd eat the buns. But now they don't even eat the buns. So it tells you that stuff is pretty bad.
Yeah, we used to buy white bread and go feed the ducks with it. So, but now the McDonald's buns, who knows what those are?
Well, that's it. I mean, that may not even be bread. It might be some chemical concoction.
But the ducks were like, but up. Okay. All right, back to the chat here. Cheese is my weakness, but I'm a no cheese eater. But I'm no cheese eater, Jeff. All right.
Yep. She ain't no rat.
Never been excited over cheese, but Manchego, Gruyere, etc. are very nice. All right, thumbs up. Yes, hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. I don't eat cheese, but don't eat as much as I did on keto and early carnivore. I love cheese, but she's scaled back. Okay, yeah, obviously. All right, very good. Yellow cheddar is white cheddar plus a little annatto seed. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. You know, we were talking last week or the week before about how American cheese is not cheese. It's a cheese-like product, especially the ones that come wrapped up as singles or the ones that they serve at the fast food restaurants. But you can get American cheese that's not individually wrapped, and they call it deluxe or deli, and that's actually like the real deal. And but don't get the individually wrapped stuff if you're the American cheese kind of person. And if you're the American cheese kind of person, then try some other cheeses and broaden your palate, because there are a lot of good cheeses out there. All right.
American cheese is the most disgusting thing they ever made.
True.
All right. I find an interesting cheese. I'll try it, but normally I don't eat or crave cheese. Okay. Gluconeogenesis doesn't load you up as much as a single cookie. Oh, you're absolutely right. And because I think gluconeogenesis takes place on an as-needed basis, you know. So if you don't need glucose, there's not going to be any gluconeogenesis taking place, you know. But if you need glucose, then some gluconeogenesis will take place. So, but when you eat a cookie, it's got to be handled. I have friends who are suffering with stomach issues and they're doing the brat diet. I just want to yell at the top of my lungs, carnivore elimination diet. Yeah, brat, that's something rice, applesauce, and toast, right?
Yeah.
Beans? Is it beans, rice, applesauce, and toast? What's the B? I can't remember. Tell me what it is.
I thought that would be sausages.
No, not brats. But if they were eating brats, that'd be okay. But no, they're eating the brat diet. All right. And then Sharon says her A1C has ticked up from 5.4 to 5.7. And just remind us, are you doing a strict carnivore diet? I could scroll up and try and find that. But that could be exactly what we were talking about. We got the little bit of gluconeogenesis taking place. More than likely, it's the red blood cells living longer, so they glycate longer. And there's a lot of good videos out there on that subject. You'll see videos by Dr. Barry, Nutrition with Judy. I think Ben Bickman has a video where he describes this process too. All right. 5.1, that's where mine was. I think I've only checked it once in the last 2 years. So no mail-in. Timer counts down and then gives the answer. You're talking about the at-home A1C kit. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you. It is frustrating when people won't listen, especially when it's like what you know could help certain individuals. I've got family members, multiple illnesses, weight issues, and I'm like talking about keto, carnivore, and they immediately kick back. Well, you got to have carbs to live, and it's like, no, you don't. And they countered with well, there's trace carbs in everything, and there's carbs in everything, even meat. And okay, so that is technically true. There's a trace carb here and there, but the point is we know for a scientific fact that carbs are not essential. If you have a trace carb from eating some muscle meat, it's not really. It's the trace means nothing. So it's not like that trace is keeping you alive. It's the fat and the protein that's keeping you alive. I've learned to tread carefully and not be too in your face with this lifestyle. The kit gives you a chance to do it without having to discuss it with a local statin pusher. That is true. Yep. And that's why I like the also with the Own Your Labs, because the lab report goes to the doctor and whoever fills out the order in some state, wherever, who's part of this Own Your Labs thing, which I think that's a partnership with Dave Feldman too. I think he's part owner in that. So they get the data, and I think they get it anonymously, but you get your results in your LabCorp account, so you can run all your own tests without ever having to tell your doctor. Unless you come across one that concerns you, and then of course you might want to bring it up with your doctor. So it's not that doctors are all evil, but I'm the lead the horse to water. If it don't drink, kick it harder. Let's see here. I may have a few pats of cold butter while I was cooking my meal. I waited too long. Yes, Carrie Gold. All right. I recently bought Sam's Club butter, so I buy that all the time, by the way. I just don't like you have to quarter it yourself and get no measurement on it. Oh, that's odd, because the kind that I buy is in quarters, and the wrapper does have the tablespoon measurements on it. So that's interesting. My Sam's Club is sold in the Maker's Mark butter is sold in quarters. I haven't seen one that's like an actual log. That's interesting that you say that, because for me it looks like normal butter that I've always seen.
Why would anybody have to measure butter?
Maybe for recipe.
Well,
so
I've never seen a need to measure it. You just put on there whatever fits.
Yeah, well, you're usually cooking meat, so you just slap some in there and throw your meat on it, and we're good. Then put the meat on the plate, take the butter, pour it over the meat, and eat it. So I'm on dinner number 2. Oh, Caitlin, the bariatric carnivore. Welcome to the chat. I'm on dinner number 2. I just finished a plate of flanken ribs and was still hungry. Now I'm having ribeye. I've noticed that if I eat breakfast right after I get up, I'm so much hungrier at dinner. That continues. And yeah, I don't know. I'm happy with 2 meals a day. I don't care if it's 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. or if it's noon and 7 p.m. you know, so, and I often eat 3 meals a day too. So, you know, but yeah, and you're a 3 meals a day kind of guy.
Always have been.
Yeah, Rick loves to eat. He says forget that fasting nonsense.
I call that starving.
All right.
I just don't get hungry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't either.
Well, of course you don't. You eat 3 meals a day.
I keep the tank full. If I keep the tank full, it'll never go empty.
I generally just eat once a day. Now I did eat twice today because I was doing a bunch of running around. Had to go about an hour and a half south of where I live to go look at some property, and then I ate again when I got back home. You know, because it was much later in the day, and I was still hungry, so I ate a second time just because I didn't eat enough the first time. But yeah, I'll generally eat 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of meat at one sitting, and I'm not going to be hungry again for a good 24 hours.
Lisa does the Kirkland butter, and Kurt says the grass-fed butter from Kirkland is just as good as the Kerrygold. And yeah, that could be. I still need to check out a Costco. Sam's is right down the street. Costco's kind of a further drive, so that's why I never go in there. But I hear so many good things about Costco. Had a friend tell me that she had too much going on to try and see if it works. Yeah, this is what people do. They make excuses. Uh-oh. Quack. Quack.
Right.
All right. So when's the last time you had duck?
Oh, it's been a while. I think the last time I had duck was back in February.
And you just go outside and catch one?
Oh, that was a roadkill duck. I
A
was
roadkill
riding
duck?
my bike. Yeah, the head was run over, and it wasn't no flies were on it, so I grabbed it and plucked it and gutted it out and cooked it up that night.
All right. Must have been a fresh kill.
Yeah, it wasn't as good. It wasn't like the ducks the way I prepare them. This meat was kind of earthy. It didn't have a good flavor. You know,
Mhm.
normally, if you catch the duck and you feed them for at least a month, then you get the really good duck flavor.
Oh, you feed them mangoes? You can have mango duck?
Mangoes, yeah, they love bananas, any kind of tropical fruit, even bits of sugar cane, all that stuff. They'll gobble that up. Suriname cherries, loquats, whatever's in season. Just keep feeding it to them. Palm berries, and you just keep fattening them up. You give them a little bit of bread now and then, and corn or whatever else you find. But the tropical fruit, that's the key. It gives the meat a really nice texture and a really good flavor.
And then I was just curious, is it legal to go down to the canal and catch yourself a duck?
Well, they're invasive, so they're not regulated by the state. They're not wildlife. They're considered to be feral.
Mm-hmm.
They're not native to Florida.
Okay, so they're free game.
Yeah, same thing with the iguanas and the parking lot chicken.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right, very good. Up here in Ohio, there's all kinds of rules and regulations. You can only hunt certain things during certain months of the year, and
So that's the way it is, and it's the way it is in most places. But like he's saying, it's feral. It's an invasive species. Like here in Texas, we don't have to have a license to hunt pigs. There's no season. There's no limit. You can take as many as you want. Ringneck dove. There's no limit on them. They're an invasive species. You can take them anytime you want. So yeah, we have our critters like that where we don't have limits. But anything that is native is considered owned by the state. So the state controls it, and we can only take so many. We have a lot of game ranches down here, and when the exotic animals get out, they're free game to anybody that wants them. Down in South Texas, they've been overrun with axis deer that were brought in and escaped. And axis deer is one of the best meats you could ever eat. It's fantastic, tremendously good eating. But yeah, one comes in your backyard and it's legal for you to hunt on your own land, you can take it anytime you want.
That's it.
All right. So we know Jeff is an avid hunter. Rick, sounds like you're a part-time hunter.
Yeah.
And Scott, you do any hunting?
A little. We have the same feral pig issue that Texas has. They spread so fast, they breed so fast, and they can trash a field out overnight. I mean, you can
Yep.
plant today and have it ruined tomorrow. And so, yeah, they're considered feral and invasive, and you can take as many as you want when you want. No season, no license required. We don't have them as bad where I live, but down east. But they're just spreading. They'll be all over the state in a few years. So just like Texas. I mean, I'm sure it started off in one spot. Now it's just about the whole state. So you can.
Yeah, we have a saying about them that a sow will have a litter of 10 piglets and 15 of them will survive.
Exactly. Yep.
We used to have them here, not anymore.
They're faster than rabbits.
We don't have them anymore because we don't have any empty land anymore. It's all built up.
Yeah.
All right. So I just did a quick search on what animals can you hunt year-round in Ohio, and this was the AI response from Microsoft Bing or Copilot or whatever. It says possum, red squirrel, gray squirrel, weasel, porcupine, raccoon, woodchuck, and skunk
Raccoons
can
nasty.
be taken year-round if they are about to cause damage to private land. That's just interesting. You can always just say, it was about to cause damage to my land. Wild boar and woodchucks or groundhogs. I didn't even know there was wild boar in Ohio. Coyotes may be hunted and trapped year-round unless otherwise prohibited by division rule. I don't know. I didn't know if people would eat a coyote.
No, they won't, but they will trap them for the hides.
Just watch out for the roadrunner.
But the thing is, if you're going to go after a fur-bearing animal like a coyote for hides, you can't do it in a spring or summer. You got to do it in the wintertime when their hides are the thickest or the fur is the best.
Mm-hmm.
So what animals can be here year-round? Oh, so it even says rabbit, coyotes, wild hog, squirrel, raccoons, beaver, and crow. That's winter. Fun summer hunts would be squirrels, prairie dogs, pheasants,
Squirrel.
coyotes, wild hogs, and woodchucks.
Squirrel's good stuff.
Fried squirrel's tasty.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Go to my friend's avocado and mango grove and go squirrel hunting.
A guy that lives near us, he invited me to go squirrel hunting once. We get there and I'm like, I start to take out my rifle. I mean, we do it with a 22 or 410. He goes, "Oh no, just put that up. We'll walk." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Victor rat traps. He had a piece of 5/4 board on the squirrel on a tree with a Victor rat trap on it, baited with peanut butter. And I
I've
mean,
done it.
every fourth, fifth tree, there's a squirrel. And
Yep.
I mean, it was like he gets them about a 5-gallon bucket, at a time. And I'm like, he said, "Never fire a shot." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But yeah.
I
It's a
tried
brilliant
that
way.
out at my place, and the coons kept getting in them.
Yeah.
The squirrels
I
here
had
don't
too
mess
much.
with
Coons kept setting them off.
that. They never gets the squirrels here. You got to shoot them because they like the mangoes better than that.
Well, back to our butter discussion. Linda Flanagan says that she likes making butter. So that's interesting.
Oh, Milton.
And yeah, we even have a comment here that says, "Hi, Milton."
Oh,
From
yeah.
Kurt. All right. Let's see here. Hello from Izzy. Welcome to the chat. Joining us from another channel. You're probably Rick. You're probably restreaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Very good.
Milton, yes.
I learned that when they have a little link by their picture here, that they're coming from a foreign source.
Look at those teeth.
I keep looking for Rick in the chat. He's a screen. Has Milton found a girlfriend cat yet?
I hope not. Don't need more kitty cats. Look at that.
Kitchen Witch gets eye rolls from mom and her sisters. Yeah, I get that. So my immediate family has become supportive, as in like, my wife and kids, but my extended family, well, my mom and dad, my dad's cool. My mom's curious. Almost can't believe that I only eat meat. And then everybody else just thinks I'm nuts. So Cabot makes a tasty habanero cheddar. That sounds delicious.
Sounds good.
Yeah. My oldest daughter says all of us carnivores are lying. That's funny. Well, about anything. It could be lying about the health benefits or whatnot, or reversing disease. It's just like, we're talking there's tens of thousands of testimonies now out there that are published, whether they're published in literature, published on YouTube, published in podcasts, and there's zero motivation to lie, because like, who am I? Okay. I'm just some dude in Ohio that lost a bunch of weight and reversed some diseases, and I'm excited about it. And I did so with the carnivore diet, but I am not selling any supplements, any products. I don't care if you come on here and we post the link for free. You come over to the website for free. So it's like, and that's the case with most people that have done carnivore and benefited from it. They are just happy to, almost like preaching the gospel. They're happy to share the good news with others free of charge, and there's no alternate agenda. So my oldest daughter says that all of us carnivores are lying. About what and why?
What would be the purpose?
Yeah. Lying is such a strong word for me, but I will say, when I first started, as I posted it before, I came in blind. My son did it, and he said, you just eat meat and drink water. So that's all I did. I had no actually idea there was any medical benefit other than just the weight loss going in. And as I started reading videos 2 to 3 weeks in, reading and watching videos, like I've said before, I'm a naysayer by heart. You have to show me. I just can't, I have to see it. And, when I would watch a video and someone had something like multiple sclerosis or a heart issue or something, and then they ate some food and all of a sudden they're healthy again and these things are going away. It's not that they're lying, but at times it can be hard to believe until you get on board. And then,
experience it for yourself.
Exactly. And so I was taking prednisone and gabapentin, Neurontin for my neuromyelitis. And it was like I take it when I need it, because I couldn't take it all the time, because especially the Neurontin, it turned me into like a zombie. I could eat one and I'd be, just damn near incapacitated for 6 hours. And so I just took them when I needed them. And then I was sitting in watching a video. I forget the lady's name, her MS video. And I'll be honest, I was like, yeah, right, whatever. And then I go, I hadn't taken my medicine this week. And then I was like, And then just a coincidence. So I'm on the carnivore 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. And around 5 or 6 weeks, I'm watching more videos out here in the cabin. And I'm like, man, she might be onto something, because I haven't taken my medicine. I haven't needed anything for inflammation, anything for pain in 4 or 5 weeks. And I've been on it for 4 or 5 years. And then I was like, might be something to this. So then as I started reading, researching, and I think by June or so, I came onto this channel and just started seeing so many other people having the same thing. I had no earthly idea that it's tens or thousands upon thousands of people doing the same thing and getting a lot of the same results. And so it was an eye opener for me. I would never come out even in the beginning, I wouldn't say carnivores are lying, but I had my doubts. I'll be perfectly honest. And now, with that personal experience, I'm a true believer, and I'm not, standing on the rooftop screaming, but I'm about halfway up going, hey, you guys better pay attention, because this is the easiest way to get healthy. It sounds difficult, meat, salt, water, but it is extremely easy to get healthy. And
It
you know,
is.
you can ditch your doctors. You know, I'm not saying ditch them totally, but you can get away from your medicines. You can get away from, you know, chronic issues, and just and be overall healthier. And the only thing you're doing is changing your diet. I mean, and that's a huge trade-off. I mean, it's an incredible trade-off. You know, you're putting in like this much and you're getting back this much. And that's really hard to explain to people. So, I mean, it's a lot of naysayers that, like, you know, it's if it's too good to be true, a lot of times it is. But, you know, with the carnivore thing, I found out that it's too good to be true, but it's true. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, I've been, you know, just blessed since the beginning.
Yeah, you know, what you were describing there made me think of, there's this phrase that says like, okay, the poison is in the dose. Okay. And the reason I think of that is because you mentioned that, you know, at first you were skeptical. That would be, you didn't, you said you didn't want to say you thought they were lying, but you were a little skeptical. That's what you were trying to say.
Yeah.
And I think there is a little skepticism is healthy. There is a healthy dose of skepticism, because a healthy dose of skepticism will make you do the research, you know, and investigate and educate yourself. Whereas a mega dose of skepticism will make you blow it off as nonsense, and then you won't do the research and you won't accept it, you know? So yeah, so I was the same way when I heard about this carnivore diet. And again, I was doing keto, and I was looking for keto recipes and learning about trying to re-educate myself on keto, because I had read Atkins' book in the 90s and stuff like that. And then I was listening to Dr. Barry, and then all of a sudden his videos on carnivore start showing up in my YouTube newsfeed in the living room. And I'm like, I start watching these videos, and he's talking about how you can live on just meat. And I'm like, what? You know, but you know, everything I'd watched from him was solid advice so far. So I'm like, you know, this guy's this guy's not a dummy. So I'm going to listen, and I'm going to research it. So I did. I was, you know, it actually took me a while. So I had to watch a lot of videos and do a lot of research before I was actually willing to commit to it. And even then I was still nervous about committing to it until I actually did. So yeah. A healthy dose of skepticism is good. So yeah, we're not liars by any means. We're just excited.
What would it profit? Yeah. What would it profit me to lie? I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm not selling nothing. Right. I've had 4 interviews on YouTube, you know, by different people, including you, Bob, and I get nothing from that. You know, so what would it profit for me to lie? Absolutely nothing.
We're trying to corner the market on meat. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to corner the market on meat.
And I don't even have to do that because I raised my own.
There you go.
You know, I got nothing to prove to nobody.
I don't know.
So it would be pretty stupid of me to go around having all these interviews telling my story, you know, if it wasn't true. And I came into this not so much with skepticism, but with curiosity. You know, my son introduced me to this when I was at the lowest of my low health-wise. You know, and I've said it many times before. He asked me, "Is this going to kill you?" You know, my heart condition, and I says, "Or is this gonna kill you early?" You know, or something like that. And I said, "Yeah, probably." I says, "But you know, if nothing else, I'm at least at a 6 times higher risk for stroke." And he said, "Well, if you'll listen to me with an open mind, I'd like to tell you something about nutrition." And so I did. That's how I went into it, with an open mind. And then I did my research. I watched the videos. He turned me on to all the carnivore doctors, you know, and I watched them, and I studied this for over a month, every day, all day long. And I decided that the best approach for me was going to be adopting the Ken Berry, what Ken Berry suggested of just give it 90 days. Anybody can do anything for 90 days. And he says, take it 30 days at a time. And so I took it 30 days at a time, And that first 30 days, I saw so much improvement that I had to go another 30 days just to see what this was all about. And by the time I hit 90 days, I was hooked. I knew there was no way I was ever going to back out of this because it fixed 90% of everything that was wrong with me. And when I have two cardiologists, one of them dropped me because he said, I can't do anything else for you. You've done it all yourself. There's nothing I can do to help you anymore. And then the other one said, okay, I've taken you off all your medications. I think I just want to see you once a year for a checkup. Run an EKG, let's look at you. But other than that, I don't think you need to come in anymore unless you have any issues. I'm off a CPAP machine. I don't have any breathing problems at night anymore. So, and then there's 16 other different things that I've fixed. I have no reason to lie about that, but I've got a great reason to brag about it.
Yeah,
because it just
a
flat
great comment.
works.
Yeah, that's a great comment.
All right, it's 9:30, so I just want to remind people that this is an open forum, and there's room for 10 people to be on the screen at our roundtable discussion. We had 6 at one point. We're down to 5. It means we got room for 5 more. And so if you're watching and you would like to join us on screen, then all you have to do is click the link that I'm about to post in the comments, and it'll open up a browser window, and you'll be able to join us here on the screen, whether you're coming from Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, whether you're sitting here watching on Carnivore Talk, or if you're a guest here, courtesy of one of our on-screen guests in their stream, that we're happy to have you here, and we're glad you're here, and we'd love to have you on the screen as well. And so come check it out. Join us on screen. That's what makes this entirely fun, is this interaction. And we can literally talk for hours. In fact, we broke a record last Monday. That was our longest live stream as well. And we'd love to hear your story.
Yeah, I'd like to just say that anybody out there that is skeptical or they find it a little hard to believe, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag because this is part of my story I'm still working on. I am one of the biggest cynical skepticists out there. I am a realist. I've seen so many of these diets come and go. People selling stuff. And I've never dieted in my life until I found carnivore. That's all I can say. This is, for me, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. And if I hadn't started it, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, and there's, don't get me wrong, would I like to indulge in a lot of foods that I have now sworn off? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I won't, but, I have fond memories of those foods that I used to eat and enjoy and hork down night after night, week after week. My favorite restaurants. I always had when you go to all these different restaurants, every restaurant you have that one favorite dish, and you go and you get that one every time. And, so absolutely, and, but I choose to do this for my health, and I'm not profiting from it. So I to say that we're liars, is, again, just kind of nonsensical, corny, if anything.
Well, and you bring up a good point. Why, if I was lying about this, what carnivore did for me, why in the world would I restrict myself from the things I restrict myself that I like so much?
Oh, yeah.
I love Bluebell ice cream and I won't eat it. Absolutely love that stuff. That's you. I love ice cream, and I love Bluebell ice cream, and
Yeah.
any Texan knows that. But I won't eat it. I restrict myself from it. Why would I do that if I was just lying? I ain't going to. I just won't touch the stuff because all I want in my body now is what's nutritious for me because I already know what has caused me to heal, and I don't need any setbacks. I don't want to go back to the way I was.
Yeah, that's like with me. I was eating uh, Papa John's pizza. I was eating that 4 or 5 nights a week. I could slam down a large and a half for one meal, and that would be just a couple hours before I'd go to sleep. And I'd wake up. By the time I woke up, I'd have a cup of coffee, and 2 hours later, I'd be starving. I'd feel like I was going to pass out. Uh, why would I want to go back to that kind of life where I always felt I wasn't ready to go anywhere because I was too scared I was going to pass out because I felt like it was a sugar crash. Is exactly what it was. I didn't feel secure enough. Now, this lifestyle, what I ate tonight, that'll last me until tomorrow, 24 hours. And I can go all day. I'm bouncing off the walls full of energy. Got so many things. My mind's racing 100 mile an hour. That's why you sometimes will see me on cam, muted. I'll be staring off into space and I got other things on my mind, but I'm still listening. I'm doing like 10 things at once. All you got to do is have just a little faith. I mean, people look at your health. If you're feeling miserable now, if you have nothing good to say about life in general, what have you got to lose? Really? How worse can it get? Have you ever heard anybody getting poisoned? And I mean, I'm not talking about food poisoning, botulism. I'm talking about where they've killed themselves because they ate 2 or 3 ribeye. No. Promise you. I mean, all you got to do is just try it. You could eat hamburger. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to hurt you.
Actually, it's going to benefit you.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm the same way, and then, I'll openly admit, to eating an occasional plant once in a while. But I've also am very clear that, and the reason I do that is because someday somebody's going to spot me in public, probably eating something that's not carnivore, and they're going to post it all over social media and be like, "Oh, look at this guy. He's eating a piece of broccoli."
Hypocrite.
So I just come right out and say it, from time to time. Yes, I do eat something that's a plant, but I've made a vow never to eat refined sugar or grains ever again, unless it's my wedding anniversary. So if you see me out around mid to end December at a high-end restaurant in a suit, drinking a bottle of wine and having something that might have some grain or sugar on the plate, the reason I'm doing that is because that meal costs $200, and you bet I'm going to swallow everything that's on that plate. But outside of that, I'm mostly meat, mostly carnivore, almost 100%, most of the time. But occasionally here and there, I'm not averse to eating a natural plant once in a while. Once in a while is the key. So I could never go back to I could never eat a plant-based diet. I definitely eat a carnivore-centric or meat-based diet. And I'm going to be that way, for life. So what were you going to say, Rick?
You will never see me eat in a suit. It just doesn't happen.
I actually wear suits a lot, so I'm in my off-screen time, I'm a religious person in real life. So
I wear a suit too, but I won't eat when I got one on.
Okay, yeah.
You've
So
seen the way I eat.
sometimes I still have mine on while I'm out.
Have you ever seen the way I eat?
Oh. So for the benefit of your suit, you don't wear it.
That is correct.
Okay.
Sometimes it's better if I eat with no shirt. That way I don't have to worry about all the animal fat.
Well, maybe that's why you got to take a bath before you come onto the video chat, because you just had dinner and you've got like grease all over your body, or blood. You just like ripped apart an animal.
I get all of it, and the thing is, I don't use a knife or fork.
Hmm. Yep. So you use those claws and those sharp, pointy teeth, right?
There you go.
Because we're carnivores. Arr.
I could devour a big piece of meat. Now, I'm sure you've seen me eat on camera. It's not that uncommon.
You know, the only person I see eat on camera actually is Kurt here. I've eaten on camera a couple times. So, all right, let's go back to the chat, do some catching up. I'm finding more people are asking me about my keto success, and my before and after pictures really draw people in. Oh, that's good. You know, before and after pictures are good for that purpose, for sure. I had 3 people ask about this lifestyle Saturday at our holiday party. Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah, the people that have known me and used to see me when I was 232 and now see me when I'm 175, you know, they're the ones that are curious and are interested in hearing how I did it. And
My before and after pictures don't work.
You're the guy we were talking about that can't gain weight.
I'm the one.
Yeah.
I don't change.
I have so many friends and family members that are struggling. Sandy Blythe, welcome to Carnivore Talk. Welcome to our Monday night Carnivore Chat. It's good to have you here.
Regular.
And we thank Rick for inviting you. All right.
For my regulars.
Yep. Okay. I have 3 packages of hamburger buns I should go feed to the ducks, unless they're McDonald's hamburger buns, and then the ducks will refuse them.
They love the regular ones.
Jeff Streslek, welcome to Carnivore Talk. Glad to have you here. Lisa says, all 3 of my kids are obese. I told them this would change their lives. They would be free from the food addiction. The crickets. Yeah, no, yeah, I get it. I've got family members, including a child, in the same situation, and just doesn't believe me. So, I hate when I forget to tell the waitress no American cheese. Soundbite that needs to be overlaid on video of ducks night eating buns. They eat out all the time. I worry about them. At least when they lived here, I fed them home cooking. You know, that alone could make a difference, honestly. So, like, you know, when I was a wee little kid, because I was born in '75, and you know, as the '80s came to a close in the '90s, you know, then we started to become more of a processed food family. But prior to that, I can remember like my mom and dad cooking every night, you know, and everything was just whole foods. So, like, if you had a steak and potato or steak and green beans, you know, I mean, you know, and I've watched some, you know, videos on this too. The people that, you know, you rewind the clock 60, 70 years, and the majority of the groceries that were sold were whole foods, whether they were fruit, vegetables, or meats. And there wasn't a weight problem, you know, and the amount of processed food that was sold was minimal, like 10%. And, but then you get into like the 2000s, late 90s, 2000s, and the amount of whole single ingredient whole foods that are sold or part of a person's grocery bill make up like 20%. And then the other 80% is the prepackaged ultra processed foods that aren't natural. And then, so coinciding with that, we have a disease and obesity epidemic. So that's why I do say that, like, you know, even if you start by just buying single ingredient whole foods around the perimeter of the grocery store, one ingredient, nothing that sits on a shelf and doesn't go bad with an ingredient list this long, that change alone will probably serve you very, very, very well. So, yeah.
But you know, people, that's just it. People don't want to do that. And I remember an example, and this was long before I ever even thought about carnivore, eating right, or anything. So a friend of mine from work was complaining on Facebook about the food shortage during the pandemic. And I went, that's funny. I was just at the store and I stocked up on pretty much everything I ever needed. Because even before carnivore, I didn't eat a lot of junk. I ate fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, and meat.
Mm-hmm.
Chips on special occasions. Ice cream was probably the junkiest food that I ate on a regular basis. But anyways, I thought it was strange. And I told him on Facebook, I says, hey, I was just at the store yesterday and there was plenty of food to eat. And he said, well, I don't know what store you're going to. And I said, well, I went to the one in Weatherford. He said, well, they ain't the one in Hazel is completely out. And I said, okay. And so on my way home, I went ahead and went through Hazel instead of going through Weatherford the next day. So I went through that store and there was plenty of food. There was no frozen pizza. There was no chips. There was no candy. There was no cookies. There was very little bread, but there was a ton of fresh vegetables. There was a ton of meats. Well, I shouldn't say a ton. There was a lot of meats. All the deli meats were gone. All the bologna was gone. But as far as like whole chickens and chuck roasts and steaks and stuff like that, there was plenty of that. There was even lots of eggs. What wasn't there was the junk food. And that was the mindset. That's the mindset of most people. If it's not junk food, if it's not processed food, it's not food to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Revealing. Sad.
Mm-hmm.
Sad as well. All right. I thought Cooper was real American cheese, but it torched it and it acted like plastic. I don't think I've ever heard of. Oh, Cooper must be a brand. I love real sheep milk feta on my ribeyes. Oh yeah, that feta cheese is good. And I don't know if I've ever had feta that was made from sheep milk, unless it's always made from sheep milk. But I mean, I like feta cheese in general.
That Spanish cheese I had today was sheep milk cheese. Good stuff.
Kurt has a question. What time frame should a person stop eating before an A1C blood test? I don't. Does it even matter with an A1C? Because that's a 3-month snapshot.
I don't know. I don't remember if you have to do a fast before then or not.
No fast on A1C. It's a snapshot.
Yeah, because it's a 3-month average. I don't think it matters.
Right.
So, yeah, because it's it's a 3-month average. So whatever you have on that morning is not likely to influence the average. I mean, I guess if you wanted to play it safe, you could, fast for 12 to 14 hours like for most other tests, but it's probably going to make a minimal difference on that 3-month average.
Yeah, you just have I guess, I don't know if it'd be a contradiction you could say between your daily glucose, if you don't fast, would be much higher, and then you could have a lower A1C, and it'd be kind of conflicting numbers there based on the timing of it. But yeah, it's probably best if you're going to do it to be fasted where both numbers, your daily number can kind of coincide with what your average is.
Yeah. So I wouldn't think with that one it would matter. And then,
it doesn't.
And even like at the kidney test. Oh, no, I mean for the A1C, that we were in agreement there. I was all like, there's some kidney tests I know that you can try and do some things to manipulate your numbers, but you're testing your kidneys, so why would you really want to try and manipulate your numbers? Yeah. Mashed blue cheese and butter together on a steak, chef's kiss. Mwah!
Oh, no doubt about that. That's good stuff.
All right. My mom's heart doctor almost killed her by telling her to limit her salt. She almost died from hyponatremia from her sodium levels getting too low. I now tell her you will die if you don't eat salt. Yes, that's absolutely true. Salt to taste. Don't be afraid of salt. I hear that all the time too, because again, when you have kidney disease, no salt for you. Like, no, you got to have some salt. So I do just fine with salt. Let's see here. Can you order your own CAC? Yes, generally. So, and most places are probably going to cost you between $100 and $200, except for here in Cleveland. There's actually a hospital here in Cleveland that received a big donation from a wealthy family, and so I can go get my CAC score for free up here in Cleveland, Ohio. But yeah, you should be able to order your own CAC score. That's just fine, unless you live in a state where for some reason that's barred. But as far as I don't see why it would be. But it could be, because there are some states where you can't go to ownyourlabs.com and order your own blood tests either. There's a few states you're not permitted to do that. So I think in general you should be fine.
I see this brought up quite a bit on the CAC score. People checking it out, and I'm curious. And this kind of goes out to everybody, not just everybody, in this talk right now, but everybody online. So, what would you do different if your CAC score showed that you had a large amount of plaque? Would it change your mind about carnivore? Would you do something different on carnivore? Or would you leave everything the same? Now, my opinion, strictly my opinion, my doctor wants me to get one, and I won't get one simply because, one, it's going to cost me $300 and I'm a cheapskate. Two, it's not going to make any difference in how I eat. I'm not going to change anything. Whatever my score is, that score is going to be what it was pre-carnivore. If anything, if it's high, it's probably lower now than it was before I started carnivore. And so I don't see the point in getting one when I'm not going to do anything to change it. I'm going to keep eating the way I eat. And I'd just be wondering what everybody else's opinion on that is.
Well,
yes.
CAC is not showing the hardened plaque is what it's showing, and
it's the calcified plaque.
And it's going to be up there, and there are ways to reverse that, and that's through diet. I would be more concerned with the soft plaque. Seeing as how we're eating the way we're eating, that's a moot situation right there, because I'm not worried about soft plaque. Hence, I'm going to tell you, people, I don't give a shit. I'm going to keep eating the way I'm eating. I'm not going to waste my money and jump on the bandwagon and follow a bunch of sheep. That's just my 2 cents.
So, I'm curious what my CAC score is. Again, with my kidney disease, I'm at higher risk for cardiac issues, and so could there be some calcified plaque within me at 49 years old? There could be, and it was probably being laid down for years before I started carnivore. Knowing the number alone would be meaningless. What you would want to do is get your number and then go back in a year and get your number again and see what the percentage of change is. That's where it's useful. And so, like, if for some reason there's a huge rapid percentage of change, then it might be worth working with your doctor to try and investigate why, and because the reason why does not have to do with LDL per se. And you could be taking too much vitamin D, you could be taking too much calcium. You can do things to slow it down, like maybe pair more vitamin K with your vitamin D, or more magnesium or something. It's just different things there too. There's different reasons why the plaque becomes calcified. Usually, if it's calcified, it can go away, but it's statistically unlikely. It's possible, but not probable. The soft plaque, though, that's the stuff that can break loose and cause you problems. The calcified plaque is it's just kind of like there, and be glad that it's calcified. It's the non-calcified plaque that can break loose and cause you a stroke or heart attack. So, and then that can go away, with a proper diet. And usually, what causes plaque? Well, we have a major disagreement between the doctors that we put our trust in versus the mainstream doctors. The mainstream doctors will say LDL, LDL, LDL. The doctors we trust say inflammation in your arteries, and then if you have chronic inflammation or even hypertension, and your vessels are taking a beating and getting damaged, then the body sends white blood cells coupled with cholesterols, LDLs, to try and patch that inflammation and heal the walls, and that's what builds up. And so you are statistically you're more likely to avoid a heart attack or stroke by addressing the inflammation than you are the LDL. So it's not that the LDL is not a factor, but it's not the fire, as they say. It's not the fire that's causing this. This is the issue. I saw a chart that it was a pie chart, and there was like the reasons why you might suffer a heart attack or have cardiac disease, and there's different sections of the pie were bigger. So like the biggest section of the pie was diabetes, which is chronic high blood sugar, which causes inflammation. And one of the most tiniest slivers of that pie graph was LDL cholesterol. So do you go after that little tiny thing, or do you try and address the big elephant in the room if you're having problems with plaque? You want to try and you want to go after the big guns and try and take care of those, because they're the bigger slices of the pie, the diabetes, the high blood sugar, that's more of a risk that's worth addressing than this little sliver of LDL over here. It's just a minimal risk, So, and it's all about risk, varying degrees of risk. So would the CAC score do anything for me? No. Dr. Kiltz, he had his CAC score ran 6 months ago or so, maybe. And it was higher than he would have liked to have had. It was like 600 and something, but he doesn't care. That for all he knows, it's been like that for years. He doesn't, and then it might just stay that number for the next 10 years. The average person sees their CAC score go up like, is it 2%, 2% or 20%, something like that every year. But the average person is also eating garbage. So if you're not eating garbage, your percent increase from year to year should be minimal. And when you're on a carnivore diet, you're not eating garbage. So this, a single snapshot CAC score, I don't think will inform you of anything. The only thing it would do is make you nervous, make you fearful. If you got a number that you didn't want to see, then now you're going to live every day with that number bouncing around in the back of your head and your thoughts all the time. And so why subject yourself to that?
Cause you stress, raise your cortisol levels, and kick you out of ketosis.
And also, why do you want to have that poison, that radiation shot? It's a high concentration. It's like a CT scan. It's not as high as a CT scan, but it's still a high dose in a certain area. Why would you want to have that crap? And like they're saying, the cortisol, the stress, the gray hairs. You know what you're doing. Your body's going to tell you if it's not feeling good.
I don't know if the CAC score uses radiation though.
It is. CAC is radiation.
Coronary artery calcium is CAC. It's a CT scan. Okay, is a CT scan radiation?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I didn't know.
That's a high concentrated dose. Mm-hmm. I had a nurse as a neighbor. She was a neighbor. Well, I had a nurse as a neighbor. She was a nurse at the local hospital where I grew up. So you're talking for 40 years she worked there. And she told me after my bike accident, do not get CT scans. She worked as a nurse, but she saw the shit that people went through. And she says, you don't want it.
Yeah, I see. Okay, a CAC scan or coronary artery calcium scan is a radiograph that uses a specialized X-ray technology called computed tomography, the CT scan. Yeah,
Yep.
to visualize
But
calcium deposits in the coronary artery. So yeah, so it is using an X-ray. So
yeah, it's a highly concentrated dose. That's more than a regular X-ray.
okay. Yeah. Let's see here. Where were we here? I'm catching up on the chat here.
Well, chat slowed down.
Now remember, I'm only 2 days carnivore. Usually do recipes. Rick, that requires measurements. That goes back to the why would you measure your butter comment. So yeah, I figured I had to do with a recipe. And then I've been using a Mine Baller to make butter balls out of 2-pound log of Amish butter.
Melon baller.
Oh, okay. And then I have my old glasses on, not my new glasses. I'm usually OMAD, 1 meal a day.
No glasses here.
Let's see here. My dad has terrible rheumatoid arthritis and is pre-diabetic. I'm trying hard to convince him to make big change to ketovore or carnivore. It's frustrating. Yeah, because I was just trying to think, what can you do? Maybe try and find video testimonies of people that had rheumatoid arthritis and get him and send him the links and hope that he watches them. So I have a friend with horrible MS and they subsist with their hand in a bag of chips all day. And I would love to talk to them about carnivore, but they're another person that kind of thinks I'm a little on the crazy train. But I've been saving some MS carnivore channels and would like to interview someone with MS someday. And so hey, don't listen to me, but listen to this person,
Have you checked that?
I think that's what sometimes it works. Sometimes I think you're just too familiar with the person and they don't want to listen to you, especially when it's like a parent, like, hey, I'm the dad. You're not going to tell me nothing, and so then maybe they need to hear it from someone else. That's where a video testimony comes in handy.
There's a girl that lives she moved out of Spain or back to Spain. She had MS and she's been on carnivore for a little over a year.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been on Homestead How, but yeah, she's back to living on her own, and her lesions they're getting smaller. They have not gotten bigger, and she's not had any episodes.
So you mentioned Spain. I wonder if that's the channel called Cabana Chronicles.
That's the girl. Yep.
Okay, I've seen some of her videos. Yeah, that's a good channel. I've got that one.
And she was able to, she thought she needed that extra help with the devil's lettuce, and she found out she didn't need it.
Carcass.
The devil's lettuce.
Yeah.
There's a good example of plant toxins. Oh, hey, Rodney's in the house. Good evening, gentlemen. We're having a late dinner of lamb chops and sauteed shrimp and bacon grease, so we won't be able to hang around, but maybe back. Hope you all had a blessed Independence Day. That sounds delicious. I'd turn this off and go eat some shrimp too if that was in front of me. Very good. All right, enjoy your dinner. Something's cheaper than Land O'Lakes. That was the butter she was talking about earlier. I can't eat enough in one sitting, so 2 meals a day. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Is like we were talking earlier. Like Kurt can pound down 3.5 pounds of meat, and I'm kind of like 1.5 pounds at most per sitting. I could probably practice and work that up to something bigger and do okay. And maybe I will someday. I like the idea of OMAD because then that gives me 23 hours of low insulin in my body to burn off what I ate, and then some extra stuff I'm toting around. I'm very surprised 2 days in a row I do not have my usual hungries between 7 and 10 p.m. Very nice. Yeah. And that's good. I mean, like I go to bed at midnight, so I try not to eat after 7 or 8. So I don't like to eat and go to bed. I can't eat enough in one sitting since having gastric bypass. Yeah, that would be the case. I usually do 2 meals of fatty coffee and a fatty coffee most days. All right. The carnivore champion, Rick says that carnivore champion needs your email address. So do you have a means of reaching out to the carnivore champion?
Yeah, but he can get it from my YouTube page. It's in the About Me section. It's easy to find.
Oh yeah. So you have to go to YouTube and Charger Mopar. Yeah. Yeah, there's a button that says view email address.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then you got to check a box that says I'm not a robot. Oh my gosh. And now you got to click on every square that has a bus.
Oh boy.
All right. And now I got to click on every square that shows a motorcycle. Jeez. All right. Finally. And then you hit submit. Wow, man, you got that email address under lockdown.
I didn't do that.
All right. And yeah, then you can find it that way. I won't read it out loud for your privacy. And then let's see here. We need Rick to come to northern Indiana for population control. The geese here are overpopulated and always blocking traffic. Would those happen to be Canadian geese? Because they are, man, they think they own the hood down here, man. They don't care what's coming. They'll stand there and look at you like, what are you going to do about it? You know,
Get the net.
they got such attitudes. It's so funny.
All right. Well, everybody, I got to go. So thanks for having me and thanks for coming.
All right, Kurt, you have a good night. Know that I am working on our little project. I'm about 50% complete. Okay.
Yeah. Remember, we still got some extra add-in stuff. We'll figure that out.
Yeah. Well, I want to take what we have, edit it, upload it, and then you tell me where we want to insert the extras. Okay.
Yep. You got to figure it out. Thanks.
All right. Cool.
Good night,
Have a good
Kurt.
night.
All right. Good night.
Let's see here. Yeah, these annoying geese are protected. I'm sure they wouldn't miss a few if they ended up in Rick's fridge.
That's what the net is for.
Yeah, just have to go there at night, dress in all black like a ninja.
Okay, let's just quit talking about breaking federal law, please.
All right, I was just having fun. I have several deer and wild turkey every day. You have to be a licensed hunter.
Yeah, I have several too. They're in my
feed
freezer.
to hunt dogs and exotics. Okay, we're almost an hour behind on the chat. This is going back when we were talking about what animals you can hunt year round without outside of there's no designated season for them. Yeah, Rick, do you ever eat possum?
I heard they're nasty. I've never had one.
Porcupine are fatty and dig holes. Shoot and cook in a spit. Let it drip. I was watching Alone on Hulu, and there was one of the contestants there caught themselves some porcupine and had themselves a nice meal with it. We shoot coyotes here all the time. Hate them. I was telling someone about your duck guillotine feeder. Making butter is fun, but cheese is a little more work. I usually go out to eat on Fridays with 2 of my friends. When I usually order a salad, they are already on board to changing it up to go get burgers or to an all-day breakfast place to accommodate me. All right, good. You got good friends there. Nice to have that support. What convinced me was everyone talking about the mental clarity and energy on carnivore. I've already lost the weight. I have just been exhausted since having that virus 7 times. I'm ready for energy. Okay. And I always say this, energy is like when I say I have more energy, that means that I'm able to keep going and going and going and going and going and going like a battery that doesn't wear out, like the Energizer Bunny. I don't have energy in like I'm Super Mario and I just ate a magic mushroom and I tripled in size and I can shoot fireballs and I can jump like 50 feet in the air. So when some people are like, some people will be like, I don't get that. I don't get that energy that everybody talks about. I think the people that say that have the wrong idea of energy when they hear that and they think of energy in the sense of like drinking an energy drink and they're like power up, or sugar rush, and that's not what we're talking about when we say we have more energy. But it's like, when you used to be able to, let's say you had to go out and do some yard work and on a hot humid day, and, you ate breakfast, you went out, and after an hour or two, you're like, I'm done. And you come in and you crash and you take a nap. Now, as a carnivore, you can go out there and you can put in an 8 to 10 hour shift and get done what you wanted to get done without feeling the need to just throw in the towel. That's what we mean when we say you have more energy.
I have a sustained energy.
Yeah, sustained energy. So not like, you pop the pill and you gain super strength. So that's the way I like to try and explain it, because we've talked to people, both Jeff and I have talked to people, coached them, and they were that's one of their grievances was like, where's all this mighty super energy I'm supposed to have? And it's like, and that's what they were expecting, was that, like, they thought that they were going to go out and power lift and do amazing things. And that's not the energy that we're talking about. Do you eat sausage like the Polish sausage links, or is that all too dirty for you? What about lunch meat? So I'm okay with lunch meat and sausage links. So do I make a practice of eating it? No. But will I eat it if my options are limited? Oh yeah. So that's fine. I've got bologna in the fridge. That's probably what I'll have since I didn't have dinner. When I'm done here, I'm going to go down and I'm going to get a slice of beef bologna, a slice of American cheese with some avocado oil mayonnaise. I'm going to put it in an egg life wrap, and that's all I'm going to eat because it's too late to have a meal. So I'm completely okay with that. I might if I don't pack a lunch, and I go down the street because I'm decided I'm hungry. Usually that happens if I'm working with somebody and they start eating in front of me, then I'm like, great, now I'm hungry. And if there's like a Taco Bell and a Panera Bread and a gas station with the roller hot dogs on the grill, I'll go to the gas station, get the roller hot dogs on the grill, or I'll get a bag of beef jerky, and I'll make sure it's clean. The beef jerky, the cleanest beef jerky. A lot of beef jerky is loaded with sugar. And so I don't have a problem with that. All I'm trying to do is kill the hunger, get through the rest of my day till I get home and have a nice dinner. So I'm personally okay. But like I said, I don't make a practice of eating that all the time. Although, if that's all you can afford, that's better than Lucky Charms and white bread and all that other processed food. So you can do a carnivore diet with Vienna sausages, cans of tuna, cans of salmon, cans of sardines, bologna, turkey breast ham. You can do a carnivore diet with those things and be successful. You'll just probably feel that you feel better with fresh meat. So
I fall into the camp, Dr. Barry's camp, that eat what you can afford. If all you can afford is lunch meat, then that is still better than eating carbs. Now, if you can afford something better, if you can avoid it, I avoid it for the most part. If I'm on the road and I haven't planned ahead and I'm hungry and all that's available is lunch meat, sausages, whatnot, and I can't find really clean ones, then I'll eat what I got to eat in that case. But it hasn't hurt me. I've done it before and it hasn't hurt me. But it's one of those things that I try to plan ahead before I go on trips so I don't run into that situation. And it's, oh, I don't know how to put it, but anyways, it's one of those things you do if you have to do, but you shouldn't do if you don't have to do it. Now when it comes to sausage and stuff like that, almost all the sausage I eat is from the animals I kill or the animals that I raise. I don't buy very much store-bought stuff. But if I didn't have the means to eat what I eat normally, I wouldn't have a bit of problem eating lunch meat or eating those store-bought sausages. I would just look for the cleaner stuff, as clean as I could find it. And I find a lot of stuff from the deli is cleaner than the stuff you find prepackaged, like from Oscar Mayer and whatnot. That generally tends to be a little bit cleaner. Yeah. Well, I'll give an example. I love chorizo, and I've grown up eating chorizo all my life. And I remember picking up a store-bought brand of chorizo that I bought all the time. And I looked at the ingredients on that when I started learning to read ingredients. And I'm going through it, and it's got all this junk in it. And one of the things it had was soy grits. And I went, what the heck is a soy grit, and why is it in my sausage? And I put that back in the cooler. And I told Mama, I says, we're gonna stop at the carniceria on the way home, and I'm gonna get me some fresh chorizo that's made right there at the carniceria, and there's no junk in it. It's just fresh, good Mexican chorizo. And that's the only kind I eat now, so I can get good sausage there.
I have almost every day I have pork sausage patties from I think they're Jimmy Dean, and I get them where they're pre-cooked. I just got to throw them in the microwave. I eat them every day. I'm completely fine with it. I don't see an issue.
A lot of that goes back to an individual sensitivities to the foods that they eat.
Right. Yeah. And processed bacon. I'll eat that too. But I'm more of a sausage fan than I am a bacon fan.
Yeah. See, I make my own bacon, so I control that too.
Mm-hmm. Amy says, the energy is not there yet. 2 days in a row, I barely got out of bed. I've had so much stress I'm trying to get rid of. Last week, I was at the ER twice with family members. It's been one thing after another. When people make excuses, that's the perfect time to start something like this to help manage the stress better. Okay. So if you're connecting to this, just starting carnivore, it might be coinciding with the fact that you've just started carnivore also. So I think if you were keto or ketovore, there wouldn't be much of a transition phase, but there still could be. Sometimes people have this transition phase when they're adapting to an all meat diet, and they feel a little sapped for energy for a few days. Let's see here, but maybe we'll get some more info as we go on to these comments, because I am still 50 minutes behind. I'm not committing to 90, starting with 30. Yeah, that's fine. My mom needs a cardiologist, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, you have to come to my area, but I got a good one.
Let's see here. Same here. I never dieted before. Watching Rick eat with his bare hands was the catalyst for me, and I had to try it. You've been an influence, Rick.
Seems like it.
Jeff, he was out of here at 9:30. I'm sure he's gone already. Have a good day. Papa Carnivore is here. Was here. Let me look over at my phone. My phone's current. Yeah, good to see Papa Carnivore here. Rick loves ice cream. What is this?
One of his jokes.
I had ice cream today. I made Dr. Kills' ice cream, and I sweetened it with allulose, and that was a disaster.
I've made it, and I do just fine without putting any sweetener in it.
I think the next time I make it, I'm not going to add anything to it.
The cream is sweet enough for me. I use straight cream in it.
Rick especially loves avocados. Oh, ice cream, avocados, iguana ice cream. Ha ha ha. That's the green ice cream with scales.
Frozen iguana.
No slow was here. Stop talking out your quack, Peter. Let's see here. The carnivore police are coming for you. Uh-oh, that's probably me saying once in a while eat a vegetable. Oh, oh Lord.
We're going to whip you with a wet noodle.
I see, I won't eat a noodle. That's why I call myself a ketovore, even though I'm meat heavy, so people can't call me out on it. Had a pickle yesterday. So there's pickle's like benign, fermented, 0 calorie. It's a stick of crunchy water. I'd be curious to know if that's natural or not, because things like broccoli and cauliflower didn't exist in the past. They're actually man-made plants. That was a shocker to me. For someone that grows up thinking that all these fruits and vegetables were provided for man by the creator, and then I find out that broccoli didn't exist hundreds of years ago, cauliflower didn't exist hundreds of years ago, corn,
that's why there's no cave drawings,
didn't exist hundreds of years ago. It's pretty remarkable. Now there were apples and I think probably tropical fruits and stuff like that, but a lot of these things that are part of our what we think of as normal didn't exist. After 30 days, I would love to have 1 or 2 keto meals a month. And, if you want to do that, I think that's fine. If you're going to cheat with keto. That's what Dr. Berry says. If he cheats with keto. And then some people do. Some people cheat even more than that. Paul Saladino has bushels of fruit. Dr. Kiltz will have French fries once in a while. So, and if Bart K will admit that he's not always a carnivore and that he'll drink beer once in a while. So, all these carnivore doctors and all these carnivore influencers, not all of them, most of them are carnivore most of the time, but will occasionally have something once in a while.
I've thought about it, but I just can't get past the fact that I don't want to put something in my body that's not nutritious for my body. With my one exception of eating a jalapeno once in a while. But that's my cheat right there is my jalapenos.
Mm-hmm.
And they are maybe once a month.
Yeah, so it's not that there's zero nutrition. It's just that if you're meeting all your nutrition needs and meeting them with a surplus, then what's the point of eating the things where there's going to be just trace minerals in it that you may or may not absorb, so.
Right.
Yeah. I wear suits for courts and weddings. Luckily, I haven't been to either one in years. That's how far back we are. We're back to talking about suits. Let's see here. Jamette says, I'm new here from Rick's channel. Welcome.
Welcome.
Glad to have you here.
As always.
And thank you, Rick, for restreaming. That's very kind of you. And
what?
Here we go. Why aren't things going bad like they used to either? Bread in the 80s would go bad in a week. I've seen loaves of bread on the counter not get moldy for 3 weeks. What are they putting in the Franken food? That's actually a good point. I bought bread for my wife and set it on the counter. She made a sandwich and then it sat there and sat there and sat there. And we had to look at the best by date on the bag, but to determine if we should throw it out. because when you looked at it, it was visibly fine. You know, like it showed no signs of mold. But I do remember bread seemed to mold rather quickly in the past. So that's a good observation.
Well, part of it isn't just what they put in the bread and the ingredients. You can look at the ingredients, and I haven't done it, but if you could look at the ingredients from bread in the 60s and 50s versus the ingredients of bread in 2020s, I'm sure there'd be a tremendous difference in the ingredients. But add to that the genetically modified wheat that they're using now. There's got to be a factor in that, because nothing we have today is what our parents ate. Everything has been genetically modified. Every fruit, every vegetable, everything we eat, or everything we used to eat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good stuff. Rick, falling asleep.
Well, you know, bedtime comes soon.
Yep, it does. So we're almost done here. I'm just trying to get through this chat. There's not, well, oh my gosh, maybe there's more than I think. All right. So it's a great channel. These guys are really nice. Thank you, Papa Carnivore.
Appreciate that.
Hop over here, give it a thumbs up. Share it if you were so kind. That would be wonderful. Wonderful. I'm starting to think that Dr. Chafee's video about the advantage to an athlete being in ketosis at the time of a head injury applies to us carnivore stroke survivors too. Oh yeah, I would think so for sure. First time here. Rick
go check out Mitch.
Yep.
Yeah, Mitch. Yeah, he had his stroke.
He's giving a lot of credit to carnivore on his quick recovery.
He's coming along very well. Yeah. All right. The breadcrumb trail from the quacks led me here. When I had a heart attack 10 years ago, docs said stay away from salt. Boy, were they wrong. Yeah. Let's see here. I feel like the CAC was from all the years of abuse and bad eating. It wouldn't change my eating. Yeah,
exactly.
That's kind of where. Why are you going to the doctor, Jeff?
Okay, good question. Okay, one, I go to the doctor every 6 months because I have a heart condition or had a heart condition. And so they want to do blood draw on me every 6 months. This one particular time, I went to the doctor and they did a litany of tests on me, including a MRI with imaging, because I had a lump in my neck. And it could have been anything from, a cancerous lymph node to throat cancer to just a infected salivary gland. And so to check it out, they went ahead and did a blood draw on me. They did a MRI with imaging, and it did turn out it was just an infected salivary gland. But that was why I went to the doctor, and that's when that's why I had to have a blood draw for that. And when he saw my LDL levels, he naturally wanted again to put me on a statin. And once again, I explained to him I will never go on a statin. And of course, he doesn't want to listen. And this is my primary care, not my cardiologist. And so, he said, well, would you at least be willing to go get a CAC scan? And I said, no, it's not going to do me any good. It's not going to mean anything to me. I'm not going to change anything that I do. And I'm not going on a statin. Anytime you want to sit down and have the discussion as to why I won't go on a statin, I'll talk to you. But until then, just know I'm not going to go on a statin. And he said, well, I'm going to send these results of your blood test to your cardiologist. And my immediate thought was he sounded like somebody saying, I'm going to tell your mommy on you. My cardiologist don't care about my LDL. He'd care less about it. He's never even ordered a blood test on me, except when I had my first severe AFib attack. Then they did a complete scan on me. They did all kinds of scans and imaging on my heart. They did nuclear stress tests. They injected me with dye. They looked at the inside of my heart and my arteries. They did ultrasounds and everything else, and I was clean as a whistle. There was absolutely nothing in there. So I don't think a CAC is going to tell me anything.
It makes me think of, my kidney issue and my PCP. I'll do some blood work, and my PCP he doesn't say this, but he basically has this air about him like, oh my God, you're going to die. We need to send this over to your nephrologist right away. Then I go see my nephrologist, and the nephrologist is like, yeah, you're all right. No need to panic. Come back in 6 months and we'll see how you're doing.
Well, it's not going to be long. We're looking to buy a new place and move. And when we do, we're going to be probably moving at least an hour and a half, 2 hours south of here. So I'll be dropping all my doctors here before long and looking for new ones. Hopefully, maybe when I get to my new area, if I feel the need to go to one, I'll see if I can find me one that's more carnivore centric.
Yeah, and I did get the call from the lab. I did labs like over a month ago, and my trigs were down into like a much, much nicer range. And I thought I'd hear good news about it. In fact, I see my doctor Wednesday, my PCP. And but last week I got a phone call from the office, and it was the doctor wants you on a statin. Are you willing to go on a statin? And I'm like, no. And then she was like, okay, well then he's going to want to refer you to a cardiologist. Is that okay? Will you go see a cardiologist? I'm like, yeah, I'll go see a cardiologist, and we'll just, I'd rather discuss this with the specialist, so, but I do like my doctor. That's why I keep going to him. He's a nice guy. He is intelligent. He's not a dummy, and he's been very useful to me over the years, but we seem to be butting heads on this lately because I've seized control of my own health and done things for the better. And he doesn't see it that way. So, all right. I have a sub 200 CAC from 2.5 years ago, and the way I eat will slowly lower it. Hopefully he'll tell you that works. Bob and Jeff are informative. We try to be. And that's because we love this lifestyle, and we're kind of nerdy about it. We've done the research, we've read the studies, and now we're preachers of the carnivore way.
Spreading the carnivore gospel.
The carnivore gospel, yep. Monday night quack time. So, yeah. This turns into a discussion about ducks as the night goes on. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, we've been invaded.
Yeah. Oh, let's see here.
It quacks me up. Sorry about that.
Yeah, found this channel from Rick's Live. Yes, thank you, Rick. Yeah, he's kind enough to mention us on Saturdays when I pop in to say hi.
That's right.
And likewise, I want to return the favor. If you're a carnivore, if you're here watching from Carnivore Talk, and you haven't seen Rick's channel, I posted a link to Lexi's channel earlier. So let's actually post the link to Rick's channel here. I'll put this down in the chat. Come over here and click that link. He goes by Charger Mopar. At Charger Mopar. That's his YouTube channel, and go check it out. When it comes to experience eating carnivore, Rick is leading the pack with 43 years of
41.
Carnivore dieting, carnivore lifestyle. Is it 42, 43, right? Something like that. 42.
42 years in August when I started.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 41 now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Kurt is in the dark. Yeah, he's outside. So, in his time when it starts getting dark for him, he starts to disappear. He's an hour or two behind me because it's been dark for me here for much longer. So, And same with, in fact, I think Rick's in the same time zone as me. It's 10:40 for us.
Mm-hmm.
You're an hour behind, right, Jeff?
It's 9:39 here.
Yeah. Let's see here. Great advice panel. That's good. Is there a video for how to cook heart attack chicken?
Oh yes, there are
Oh.
several.
All right, yeah. Head over to Rick's channel and search heart attack chicken.
And other people have made videos too.
And we'll have to make ourselves. We'll have to. That's why. Actually, that's probably what I need to start. I want to get a. I like the quality of this camera right here. So, but I want to get a. I don't like the microphone quality. So I want to get a hot shoe mic that goes on the top of this and points at me to pick up the sound. And I'm going to start vlogging with that outside of this office. And one of the things I want to do is actually, like, you know, share what I eat when I'm out, share what I'm cooking down in the kitchen. My kitchen's not very presentable. It's kind of a lackluster kitchen. So, and but yeah, I want that way to add more variety of content to the channel on the regular videos. So there's a video of a guy who reverses MS. I want to say the channel was Hope and Healing. I will write that down. Here's my pen. Hope and Healing. Thank you for that. I will look it up. Hope and Healing. All right. Yeah, and then Cabana Chronicles for sure. All right. Rheumatoid arthritis, it's gone except for the old pain of basketball and skateboarding injuries from the 70s. I just, you know what, that's interesting to see the word grandma and skateboarding in the same block.
Well, it was in the 70s.
That is super cool. Yeah, no, I skateboarded a little bit in the 80s. I wasn't ever any good at it, but that's awesome. Let's see here. No Carb Life, I think, has had MS people on his channel. Yes, I bet he is. Yeah, I bet he has. I need to get back in touch with him because we were going to do an interview before I had that ceiling fall on my face and disfigure me for a while. And then I didn't want to be filmed looking like that.
Yeah.
I need to get that back on the calendar. Let's see here. Trying to catch up. I'm skipping stuff now. There's a lot of small talk. Ivermectin clears up my brain fog. Let's see here. Energy, in other words, stamina. Yeah, that's
Yep.
Exactly. Yep, good explanation of energy. Carnivore does give energy like an Energizer battery. Where is Carrie? So he doesn't stalk at this time of night. The fake Carrie. Here's a question. Is it okay to eat egg wraps on carnivore? I had one and it was yum. Says on ingredient, egg whites and seasoning. So I think you're talking about Egg Life wraps. And I would say the answer to that is yes. I use them all the time. They are just egg whites. And there's the plain egg whites one. I think it's just egg whites. And then I get the Southwest ones and that'll have a little seasoning in it. And it's just is a trivial amount of seasoning. Nothing to worry about one bit. So yes, you can make use of egg whites, Egg Life wraps all you want. That's how I make carnivore tacos. You know, I use Egg Life wraps. I make my lunch meat wraps with them if I want to have a lunch meat. So yeah, there's a lot of diversity there. I can melt cheese in between them in the microwave or fry it on a pan with some butter and then cut it into quarters, and I've got myself a cheese quesadilla. So yeah, Egg Life wraps are a
I've
beautiful
got 3
thing.
packs of them in my refrigerator right now. I like making egg burritos, breakfast burritos out of them, even though I eat breakfast around 1. But what I like to do to them is I like to coat them with melted butter and brown them in my cast iron skillet, just like I do with a regular tortilla. To heat it up. I do that with the Egg Life wrap, and I'll I'll toast it pretty good on both sides, and they're a pretty decent substitute for a tortilla. For somebody that grew up eating Mexican food, I'll take it.
Yeah, and I think you can. I've seen people actually take like a pizza cutter and cut them into strips and have them like make like a noodle type dish out of them too. So they're very. I think there's a lot of
I tried that.
diverse things you do. Yeah.
I don't remember who I saw do that. I think it might have been Chris Cook in Nashville. He took some, or he made. That's what it was. He made his own himself, and he's got a recipe for it. And then he sliced them up, rolled them up, and sliced them like noodles. And I tried that. I don't remember what I made with it. Some kind of Alfredo, I guess. It was a pretty poor substitute. I'll just stick with making my burritos and tacos out of them.
Grandma says, I'll eat lunch meat and hot dogs, but feel better on fresh meats. Yep. So do I.
Through that.
Yeah. And then let's see here. And then we have, speaking of Bart K, if you have the means, please go to his channel and donate to the devastation his farm is going through. So I am actually unaware of this. I will have to catch up on
Yeah, he's
my
had
Bart
some
K
flooding
videos.
over on Pimbardia.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and post a link. That's the link to Bart K's channel. I like Bart K. If you go over there and you're sensitive to foul language, notice that he used to make explicit use of it over the years. He's trying to clean it up, though, recently. Let's see here. Cucumbers are related to watermelons. Is that true? I never heard that. Oh, now I gotta research it. Cucumbers related to watermelons. It actually makes sense. They grow on a vine on the ground, just like zucchinis and squashes and stuff and pumpkins. They all could be related. Yeah. All right. Catching up. I've looked at the stores and I can't find any duck.
Hey.
Bob,
We've got it in our
personal
Wally
preference,
World stores here.
but I
but
haven't
it's
owned a
expensive.
microwave. Yeah, I'm sure Donna Duma Meats there's some duck. I bet you there's that place has everything. But I don't traditionally see duck in a normal grocery store.
Yeah, we have it around here.
Meow, 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 meow. Meow, meow, meow.
My personal preference, but I haven't owned a microwave in around 40 years. Sir, would you like it nuked? No, thank you, ma'am. I'll pass. I was saying that when they came out. It's not natural. Yeah, I make use of a microwave. I have one that rides around in my truck because I like warm food. I don't like to eat
Yeah, I
packed
think-
cold
I think
wipes.
Rod was responding to an earlier post where somebody had mentioned that microwaves were no bueno.
Mm.
I have a built-in heater in my truck.
Yeah.
The engine, manifold.
Engine.
Yep.
Right.
Jeff, I saw a post today that said we shouldn't eat foods that made us sick in the first place.
True
No.
that.
Yep.
Milton.
And
Thank
then Jamette says, Bob and Jeff, thanks for answering Egg Life wraps. In one store, it was called Egg Life Everything Bagel. Okay, so that I would have to see. I have no knowledge of the. Oh, the flavor was called Everything Bagel.
Yeah.
If it was Egg Life wraps and the flavor, yeah, they have all kinds of flavors. I think they're all going to be fine. I mean, just obviously look at the carb count. It's probably going to be 0 or less than 1. I think you're going to be good.
I
The Egg
tried
Life
the
wraps-
everything bagel.
Yeah,
wasn't
the Egg
impressed.
Life wraps they're like a godsend for a keto carnivore. What you don't want to do is go to where the actual tortillas are and get the so-called keto tortillas.
Carb,
They're like
low carb,
mission,
no carb.
low carb, and because like if you look at the ingredients, it'll be made from flour,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll say like, oh, there's a name for it, modified resistant wheat starch or something like that, and they count that as a fiber because they know keto dieters will subtract fiber from their carb counts, but it's a lie. The carb is actually a carb in that wrap, and it's no different than the normal tortilla. So stay away from keto bread, keto tortilla, but Egg Life wraps, that is legit. That's the real deal. So definitely you stock up on those and enjoy them. I give them at Sam's Club in a bulk box too, and they're a little cheaper. All right. Rick, wake up and go wrestle an alligator. I don't think he's in any condition to wrestle an alligator at the moment. He looks like he's going to fall asleep. And I think it's time for us all to fall asleep. That is the end of the chat. So we made it to the end of the chat. We haven't chatted as long as we have last week, but that's okay. I'm not actually looking to set records. But this is our second longest one, running at 2 hours and 50 minutes now. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to hang up.
Same.
Me too.
All right. So for those of you who are watching and have stuck with us for the whole 2.5 hours, or jumped in at some time and you're still here at the end, well, we want to thank you for hanging with us. It's a privilege to have you here listening to us flap our gums about how much we love carnivore and talking to you in the chat. Everybody have a good night. Know that we'll be back next Monday, because we do this every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Right, for reference, it's 10:50 p.m. right now. If you want to look down at your clocks, you can always find out the time in your time zone in the calendar over at carnivoretalk.com. Come on over there and register for an account, and that's where we're chatting throughout the week and helping others on their carnivore journey as well. It's free, no obligation, and a lot of the same cool people you see here on Monday nights are over there throughout the week.
And if you want to see more of me, I'll be on tomorrow night.
Yeah, so where will you be tomorrow night?
I'll be with Russ Mitchell at 8:30 on the Keto Cookout.
Keto Cookout. So yeah, so they go look up the keto. Do you restream that one?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you can go to the Keto Cookout channel, or it sounds like you can hang out with the rest of the quackers on Rick's channel.
That's it.
And watch it from there. And
every 2 weeks, like clockwork.
Yeah, either way. But I say, go back and forth, visit everybody, subscribe to everybody, and show everybody your support. So thank you, Rick, for being here as part of this panel. We appreciate that. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff's like the OG when it comes to Carnivore Talk. He's been the member that's been around the longest and has stuck around the longest. And it's been really nice talking to you both, and those that aren't on here anymore, like Lexi, and we had Scott, and we had Kurt, and am I missing anybody? Lexi, Scott, and Kurt.
Milton got stuck.
I think that was it. We had 6 tonight.
Yeah.
If I'm missing somebody,
Milton.
you come at me later and tell me what a fool I am. All right. That's it. Good night, everybody. I'm going to end the stream in 3, 2, 1. If you guys want to stick around and talk a little more, that's fine. So good night.
Ow.
See ya.
All right. Milton, no.
Milton, no. We're giving them back to you right now.